Hey! Okay, let's see. You know, if that gets us.
I think one super long piece of tape would be a little better.
1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 2. Hey Brian, are you just kill that to the start? Are you seeing me on the video?
I see you.
Okay.
I'm sideways.
I'm sideways. We don't be sideways. Does that get?
Where's your tape go? I'll try to get you.
It's is that good as right there? Very good. Good job. Is that good guess as well? Let me see.
What time do you want to buy? 7:05. Oh, you already know that. 7:05. I've been knowing that. Oh, hey, give me the tape one more time. I'll try to get you in.
It's in that case right there. How's that? How's that?
I'll see what you mean about the tape. Sucks.
Yeah. You get that wrap around that? No, he said you think that stuff. Wrap around that. You know, I mean, geez.
well, hopefully that'll.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right, so the first person you're looking for is Todd. Yeah, 705. 705. Yeah. Oh, I got it under control. Don't worry. I know you did.
Whatever that means. Today I'm like, but I guess the other point.
Hey, Jim, where'd Jimmy go? Hey, Jimmy, why don't you join me here at the outset? And we got about 6 or 7 minutes because Will's going to be tied up with stuff in Nashville in the first segment. So we can welcome you in and we can talk about Newberry, talk about the high school game tomorrow night, the Wolves and all that kind of stuff.
I'll be over here to take her once you get going for real. See if we can.
Why don't you?
All right, now we're at the. Yeah. I'm gonna email me, what should I send this?
Get out of that. Sports talk, go line. Line Jimmy, yeah.
Jimmy, I think I'll shout out.
Yeah, also, we're gonna have some, there's be some gathering students from, probably about 6:45. All right, just send it to you.
Yeah, what's gonna be nice? Yeah. I think I know the backup report because it looked like we're doing it in the garage. And if we did a close up, we wouldn't know. I mean, if we pulled out in the garage, that help us.
Come on, Jim.
Hey, Jimmy, I think he's ready for it.
Keep me advised of everything. See you. Check the picture. Oops, on my headphone. Why is everything on that one? It's fine.
I can't hear you.
It's time for the final word in sports all across the state. You're listening to Sports Talk with your hosts, Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. You've been waiting all day, so join the show now by calling 800-956-7266.
And Frank, he and I talked about his team a little bit. He just said it's the best shooting team he's had. You know they're going to defend. You know they're going to be tough. And now if they shoot the ball, they're going to be pretty good. And he said he really likes his team. But I told Frank, I said, you know what? Everyone was happy for Frank. I didn't meet one person that wasn't ecstatic. I said, you went from the guy that, you know, to like the teddy bear everybody wanted to hug. And I said, keep riding that one. That one's better.
Yeah, they love him so much. The media around the SEC picked the Gamecocks 11th in the preseason SEC basketball poll, coming off their Final Four run last year. It's all about what have you done for me lately. That's coming from SEC Media Day in Nashville. That's where Will Pelagic is located. Phil Kornbluth here. We are in Newberry at Bar Figaro, downtown Newberry, not far from Newberry College. Got a nice little crowd here tonight who have come out to join us and celebrate the Newberry Wolves. Yeah, listen.
And it will grow. It will grow.
Obviously, these are not Gamecock and Clemson fans.
Correct.
We never get applause when we're around those people, okay? So it's great to be in Newberry, and we thank you very much. Nobody's ever applauded for us before. And our good friend Jimmy Coggins of WKDK, the first station ever to sign up for South Carolina Radio Network and Sports Talk, is alongside.
That was a long time ago.
Everything we do was a long time ago.
You and I had more hair, and it wasn't gray.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Great to see you.
Great to see you as always.
Thank you for coming by and joining us. Will join us from Nashville in just a few minutes. He's tied up right now with Frank Martin, and that's
you're not gonna don't make Frank Martin.
That's not a picture you want to envision in your mind. But no, the Gamecocks are going through the interview process during this time, and he'll join us as soon as he's done. He'll have some interviews. Brad Brownell met with the media up at well, actually not in Clemson, but up at the golf course up at Sunset for his annual golf outing. He talked a little bit about college basketball situations and his team. We'll hear from him. Dabo Swinney's going to talk with the media after practice around 6:30. We'll bring that to you later on. We got the M&M boys coming up for you at the bottom of the hour. So it is a full show tonight here on Sports Talk, but we are here for Newberry. Coach Todd Knight will be here a little bit after 7 o'clock. Coach Davis, the basketball coach, will be here. And Ralph Patterson, the AD at Newberry, former basketball coach, former radio announcer, former TV analyst, former everything.
I think he might still do that from time to time.
Yeah. So how are you?
I'm doing great.
How are things in Newberry?
Things are great here. Beautiful weather. Great crowd here. We'll have some more folks joining us. And we do this on Thursday nights usually. It's great that you decided to do it on Wednesday because we ended up having a conflict tomorrow with the high schools.
You have got two very hot football teams in this town.
We do.
I'm disappointed the Wolves lost last week.
It was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, tell us about it.
Well, it went to double overtime, as you probably know. And the bottom line is they went for a 2-point conversion on the second possession and completed the pass and beat us 32-31.
Broke a long winning streak in South Atlantic Conference.
12 games in a row.
Yeah.
They were trying to extend it to 13. So it was a heartbreaking loss. But, you know, those things happen, and you regroup. And that's the good thing about football. It's another week.
All that means is
how the Yankees doing over there, by the way?
Yankees are up 2-0. I'm happy to report South Carolina native Brett Gardner just scoring for the Yankees. I'm always happy to pass along good Yankee news.
Yeah, I just want to say, Phil, first thing Phil wanted to know is, can I get my Yankees connected here?
I know. It took a little while, but we got them.
How big is that TV running that you're not being able to see over there?
Tell us about Bar Figaro.
It's a great place. On the other side where the bar is, it used to be a drugstore, and this was kind of a garden shop, feed and seed place. And Bob Shirey and Figaro Hospitality Group remodeled this place. They have 3 properties in Newberry: Figaro Bar, which is where we are, Figaro Market, which is a great place up on Main Street, and then they have the Figaro Dining Room. So 3 great properties to add to what we already have in downtown Newberry, the Opera House, and of course many other restaurants and neat places.
Yeah, you know, Will was in Nashville last night, and we were comparing Newberry and Nashville, and I said, you know, they both start with the letter N.
Right.
Newberry's got the Opera House. Nashville's got the Grand Ole Opry.
Right.
So they're related that way. You can probably get hot chicken here, just like you can in Nashville.
Right.
You got good football teams here. They've got they got Vanderbilt, but they got the Titans who won the other night. Lots in common between these two towns.
Yeah, and Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, you can hear some pretty darn good music right here in this place where we're sitting.
I tell you, Newberry is a beautiful town. It's one of the real hidden gems in South Carolina. People who like to get out and get away from the cities and go and enjoy small town atmosphere. This is a great place to come to.
It really is. We enjoy living here. It's a wonderful place, and Newberry College is a great part of it.
You have been a part of this town your whole life. You've been a part of radio your whole life, and your dad, of course, play-by-play voice of the Clemson Tigers, the first one, correct?
That's right,
the very first voice of the Tigers.
There've only been 5.
And he was number 1.
He was number 1.
Tell us about that.
It was fun. I mean, I was a kid, and you know, it was a lot of fun to Coach Howard didn't let children in the press box back then. I was kind of an exception, I suppose, and I don't think there were too many women covering you know, football back then.
Right.
So now that's changed, of course, and rightfully so. But the following the Tigers as a kid was a lot of fun.
What do you recall about how they broadcast back then?
Well, they had the old telephone hookups, you know, that the telephone company did it and you didn't worry about it unless it didn't work. And we've been through that even
absolutely.
in our careers. But just remember, you know, not having too many problems, but technology has changed so much. I mean, you've got the stats right in front of you. You got computer screens. It's just amazing how technology has changed.
Did your dad have a pet call? Did he have a signature call or a signature touchdown call?
Not that I remember.
He didn't come up with Argentine. That wasn't his.
No.
That was Pete Yandy. Had to wait for that.
Yep, he didn't do that.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun to follow, and I actually still use his template for charts that I use.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, even though we have this technology now, it's hard to get away from.
Right. How many years did he do Clemson?
You know, I'm not really sure from whenever they started to about 1964, 65, somewhere in there. I think Bill Goodrich came along after he left. And then, of course, Jim Phillips.
Yep.
And then Pete. And then, of course, Don.
Don Munson.
Right.
Exactly. And from there, you guys came to Newberry? Is that how it worked?
Well, he was already here.
Okay.
He had been in Anderson, came here, and then continued to do it for a while. Did South Carolina for 2 years in the mid-'50s.
I did not. Before Fulton?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Your dad did South Carolina, too?
He did Clemson. Then he left for 2 years, did South Carolina, then went back to Clemson, and he and Coach Howard formed the Clemson Network.
That's a trivia question right there.
It is.
Because I don't think anybody's done them both.
I want to say, don't hold me to this, it was 55-50.
Tell us about the big high school game tomorrow night.
Oh, boy.
Yeah.
2 Mr. Football candidates, neither of whom are playing in the Shrine Bowl. But our running back, Amir Abrams, who's just an amazing talent, I think, and has so much ability. I just love the way he can see things that other running backs don't see. He sees the hole. He has abilities to cut. He, you know, if he doesn't score 3 or 4, sometimes 5 touchdowns, you go, boy, he's had a bad night.
Yeah.
But he's amazing. And then the quarterback at Chapman is also a finalist for Mr. Football, as you know. There are 5 finalists, and 2 of them will be in the game we'll do tomorrow from Chapman. When's the last time you saw 2 finalists in one game? I don't remember seeing one.
Right. And this is for like the region title? Will this clinch
No,
the
well,
region?
it could very well clinch it, yeah, because there's only one game to go after that. So one of these teams will still be undefeated, the other will lose. Mm-hmm. So, it's a big game.
And you'll airtime it at what time?
7:05.
7:05.
Sorry, we're going to cut you off tomorrow.
We're used to it, you know. We roll with the punches. We want to thank you for joining us, and thank you for putting us all together at Bar Figaro and helping us with the folks at Newberry. Looking forward to the rest of the night.
It's our pleasure. We look forward to hearing from the coaches from Newberry College. They're a bunch of great guys. This is a really neat place, and it's fun to be a part of it.
It really is. Thank you, Jimmy.
Thanks, Phil.
Jimmy Coggins, voice of Newberry College and Newberry High School. He wears 2 hats. Well, he wears many hats here in Newberry. I'm surprised he's not the mayor of Newberry as well. All right, we'll hit a break when we come back, and I'm hoping that Will be able to join us. We'll talk some basketball, catch you up on some other news, talk some more football, too. Back in a moment.
What's up, Kelly? What you doing living? What's up? Oh, you look like Kelly Bryant. You're moving like Kelly Bryant these days. How are you? I'm good. How you doing? Good. Thanks for coming out. Yeah, we're talking to you on as well. Didn't realize you were coming out. Well, yes, see you as well. There was a recruit who, I know Chuck. Chuck, you know that? Well, yeah.
So big time.
How are
Nice
you,
shirt,
man?
man. Good effort. Tremendous. Like someone's in Atlanta or something?
I think Coach Knight gave me these this one time. And Zach, I can't remember what was Coach. No, that would be that's got wolves on it. Yeah. That's what it was. Yeah. You know, he decommitted from North Carolina, but then he committed to Oregon. So, yeah, they do. I talked to him. You like it? Yeah. You never know. You never know what those guys did.
Good. You know Phil?
I feel at the national championship game. I don't know if you remember. Right to your
down in Tampa.
Yeah.
Brian, the 3 segments of 5 minutes each will be in that first 50 minutes. When I say cut the first 50 minutes, I mean cut basically what's after it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking to you.
You need to mute my
Not just mute the phone, but mute the microphone. You have to mute the Hangout.
Okay, can Will hear us okay?
Give me a thumbs up, Will, if you hear us.
You need to turn your mic down.
Did you get around the LSU?
This is the place to talk Tigers, Gamecocks, and more. Sports talk across the state on the South Carolina Radio Network.
We're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network from Bar Figaro in downtown Newberry. Beautiful afternoon. Great crowd has turned out to say hello to us here tonight at Bar Figaro. The Newberry folks are trickling in. Ralph Patterson is here. Former Gamecock star Mike Hold, who, of course, is a longtime assistant athletic director of the Newberry fundraising organization for athletics. He is here as well. Always good seeing him. Boy, what a career he had at South Carolina. Some great, great moments back in his day playing for the Gamecocks. And we'll have Coach Todd Knight with us here a little bit later on as well. So we're looking forward to talking to all of them and more from here at Bar Figaro in downtown Newberry. Yankees up 2-0, by the way. Top of the fourth, if you're wondering about that. Let's go to a place where they do have a bar or two to visit. That would be Nashville, Tennessee, where I imagine those basketball coaches either last night or tonight made their rounds down Broadway into the honky-tonks. And I know that our man Will Pelagic probably stayed in his hotel room, studied up all the basketball information he could get, did not go out at all last night to enjoy the bright lights of Nashville as he joins us from SEC Media Day.
Do you know who you hired?
Exactly. Exactly who we hired. I'm great. How was your day?
It was good. It was good. You know, SEC Media Days are wrapping up right now. In fact, Georgia head coach Mark Fox is standing up right in front of me. He's just sitting down. He wants to look and see and check out our setup, I guess. Yeah. Say hi, Coach. We're on live radio. Yeah. Say hi, Coach.
How we doing?
That's Georgia's Mark Fox. We're just
got a Packers helmet on the screen. I mean, Aaron Rodgers got hurt. He's got a Packers helmet on his screen. He's going to have to find a new team.
That's our Phil Kornblut, our co-host. But, yeah, he's checking out our setup here. As you can see, we're wrapping up here into the lobby here of the Omni Hotel in Nashville. Frank Martin literally just got done speaking to us. So we have forwarded that audio back to our crack producer, Brian Leonard, back at our studios in Columbia. We'll play you some segments from that. We're also going to hear from Asani Gravett as well as Chris Silva. Basically, the one thing that Frank Martin said is he doesn't care about the a ranking of number 11th out of 14 in the SEC. He says that there have been years where they've been ranked low and they've finished tied. There have been years where they've ranked high and they've finished low. So one thing that he has said publicly is that this is probably the best shooting team he's had, and that he believes that his team, as you know from the last time we talked to him, they were just about this week to install their defense. And he says that this team has taken his defense, at least amongst the first-year players, about as quick as anybody has over the course of his time coaching. So he really likes his team from a scoring standpoint and also a tenacious defensive standpoint as well.
That's good. That's good. Let me go over the preseason poll from the media, which obviously the media doesn't know a whole lot, but Kentucky was picked number 1. Ha! I mean, you know, they could do that from their graves. Florida picked number 2, Texas A&M 3, Alabama 4, Missouri at 5. We'll get back to that in a moment. Then Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Georgia, Auburn, Ole Miss. That's your top 10. USC, Mississippi State, Tennessee, and LSU. So, I mean, and no Gamecocks made the preseason all-SEC team. 3 players tied for Player of the Year preseason. Yonte Maiden of Georgia, Michael Porter Jr. of Missouri, and Robert Williams of Texas A&M. So it just goes to show you when it comes to a basketball program like South Carolina, Will, your Final Four doesn't travel with you year to year. It's and again, it's about, and I'm sure Frank Martin realizes this, you know, it's about building a program, and he had a great team last year, but is he building a great program that can sustain and expand the kind of success that they had last year to where they get a little more respect coming off a Final Four run?
Yeah, that's true, Corn. And I think when you look at this team and when you look at what they bring, you know, they don't bring a lot of household names into the picture, although they bring names that Carolina fans are familiar with because they were following them last year. But you're not going to see the kind of, you know, McDonald's All-American type players on this team. And I think the one thing, too, from his perspective, he wants to make sure that this team is defined by defense and make sure that the team is defined by their ability to put points on the floor. And I remember when you asked me at the end of yesterday's show, what's the one question I'm going to ask him? I asked him about where's the scoring going to come from? And he says, you know, in my 34 years of coaching, I've never worried about who was going to actually put the ball in the hole. It's always been something about, you know, we always need to find people who kind of take it away and take the ball by the horn. So I think the one thing that this team needs to find is they need to find that guy who has that Sindarius Thornwell or P.J. Dozier type gene, that leadership type gene, in order to make that team better in crunch time. I think he believes that they'll be okay when it comes to putting up points, and then also they'll be okay when it comes to defense, but they need to find, whether it's by example or whether it's by just inside that locker room, they need to find that singular leader, that guy that they can rally behind. Maybe Gravitt's that, maybe Kotsar is that, maybe Chris Silva is that. But in my mind, if there's one thing that's lacking from this team, it's that.
All right. Now, of course, the big elephant in the room, besides talking about the upcoming season, the X's and the O's, the Jimmies and the Joes, the FBI probe into college basketball. And, of course, that reached deeply into the SEC at South Carolina and at Auburn. And so what was the overall mood and take of the coaches? I'm sure everybody was asked about it from table to table. What was the overall take from the coaches about what's gone on?
I can at least tell you this from South Carolina's perspective. Frank Martin once again doubled down on the comments he made a couple of weeks ago and said that South Carolina still hasn't been contacted by the FBI or by the NCAA involving an investigation. So in that vein, there's at least people who are supporters of South Carolina, that's something to at least rest easy on. As far as the coaches conference-wide, I know we talked to Konzo Martin this morning. Apparently he has a relationship with all four of the gentlemen who were indicted by the FBI, and he certainly feels for them. I think one of the things that he said is that he does not want to see summer recruiting go away. That's the one part of the reform that's been talked about whether or not there's summer reform as far as the AAU circuit. He doesn't want to see that go away. And John Calipari probably spoke as staunchly as anybody on that when it comes to reforming the way things are versus, when we're talking about the one and done rule, the NBA, whether or not they want to make people stay in college for 2 years. He says, that's the kind of rule that benefits Kentucky more than anybody. But the one thing that he wants to make sure is paramount is what it means for the kids who are playing on the teams. And I think when you're trying to serve and create a rule that really only benefits about 15 kids across college basketball, who does that serve? And I think Cal makes a very interesting point in that regard, because if you're going to make a landscape sweep-changing rule to basically just satisfy, the 10 to 15 kids that could play in the NBA out of high school, I don't know if it necessarily serves the greater good, but I think it could serve the greater good of college basketball to make that rule happen. He says he'd support that rule if that happens, but he also said, at least in the interest of full disclosure, that's the kind of rule that helps Kentucky more than it helps anybody else, because of the fact that Kentucky's been able to recruit the best players, especially that NBA talent.
Yeah. Absolutely, absolutely. But you know what? I still think whether that rule serves one player or 20 players, they should do away with it, because those players who can go on to the league will go, and all the rest will go to college basketball, and that will take a lot of that pressure off of recruiting and a lot of the underhanded stuff, obviously, that's been going on to try to deliver those guys. It will also eliminate the perception that those guys, those one-and-doners, are going to college to get an education, when we all know that they're just going there as a quick stop until they are allowed to go on to the NBA. And who knows if they're actually going to class, doing their classwork and all this kind of stuff. They have not put any rules in place to punish schools that bring in one-and-doners who don't get their academic work done, who don't come back and get their degrees and things of that nature. Maybe if they did that, put a little bite into the academic side, you might think twice about bringing one in.
The one thing that Cal did say is that, and this might be a shot across the bow in state, is that behaviors will change. And that's the one thing I guess he kind of left it maybe a shot towards across the bow toward Pitino in that vein.
All right, we'll be right back. Sports Talk from Newberry and Nashville M&M Boys coming up next here on Sports Talk.
Go.
These guys, they never sleep. Check them out on the web at SportsTalkSC.com. Now, more of Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
Okay, we're back at Sports Talk, South Carolina Radio Network on a very busy Wednesday night. Phil Kornblut in Newberry at Bar Figaro. We're here with the good folks of Newberry, and we've got practically a full house in here, so thank you to everybody that came out to say hello to us and have something great to eat and something delicious to drink here at Bar Figaro. I tell you, whatever they're cooking in the kitchen, you can smell it as you're walking up the sidewalk. It is really, really appealing to somebody like me and everybody else who is here. Newberry folks, the coaches will be with us in hour number 2. Will Pelagic is on the road in Nashville, and he's been covering SEC Media Day. And now we get to one of the most anticipated portions of the week here on Sports Talk, a visit from the M&M boys. Let's welcome in Will Merritt, former Clemson offensive lineman. Will, how are you?
Oh, Newberry.
We're doing great. Good to have you with us. And former Gamecock star linebacker and 9-year NFL linebacker, and now TV star in Columbia, Corey Miller. That cover everything?
There are probably 18 more things, but we're up against time, so. I'm just kidding.
Shrine
What's up,
Bowl
guys?
selection.
MVP.
Okay, let's don't forget the MVP. All right,
yeah,
look,
don't forget that.
It's your night. It's your night to gloat, Corey. So, go ahead. You get the first shot.
There's no gloating, but what a great weekend of college football. Friday the 13th weekend turned out to be bad. Spooked for a lot of teams, but a lot of teams, top 5, top 10 teams went down. Not just Clemson, but several of those teams lost. South Carolina eked one out, and Knoxville, a place they've only won 3 times. Will Muschamp stays undefeated, so they go into bye week at 5-2 with a little bit of momentum, and of course Clemson looking to try to heal up and trying to get back healthy and see what they can do down the stretch, because right now for the Tigers it's a playoff weekend every week throughout. I mean, every week is like a playoff game for them. They can't have any more bumps in the road, so it's a good weekend last weekend for South Carolina, not so much for the Tigers. But Phil, it's like this, buddy. I've been trying to tell you. You argue with me, and I try to tell Captain Will Merritt about this Clemson team while they were gloating, they were patting themselves on the back. They weren't as good as what everybody was saying. They are very beatable, and I know we're getting ready to hear the plethora of excuses from Mr. Merritt about they shouldn't have played a quarterback and all this stuff. We're getting ready. I'm going to let him go and have the floor with all the excuses. But I've been telling you all along that this team was not as good. I've been telling you all along that they had issues in the back end, which we saw with the safeties. They got exposed. They got put into some situations to cover they could not cover. And, you got to give Syracuse credit for that, for exposing that. But this is really a top 10 football team, no doubt about it. But this is a beatable team. That's what I've been saying all along.
Mm-hmm. Will, is Corey correct? Is Clemson a beatable team, or was this just a bad night and they'll bounce back like they did last year after losing to Pitt?
Well, I mean, and that's great for, Corey to take a shot at, calling me Captain Homer. Let me tell you what nobody will ever call Corey, and that's Captain Humble. Let's just put it that way. But I'll say this, and really the good news is I've taken a laundry list of notes over Corey's excuse-laden rants over the last 4 years. So I've got plenty to be able to say, after a loss. But the fact still remains is, guys, Syracuse just they just beat Clemson, and they beat them in almost every phase of the game. There's just really nothing positive you take away. I was with some of the coaches today in Clemson, and we talked about it, and, there's really not a good reason or excuse that you put on other than the fact that Syracuse was better prepared. And the only thing that ever came out of those conversations is a little bit of a fatigue factor, short week, and there was a fatigue factor, but you really can't say that. You had the open week to come into. You knew you had to play your best football to try to get into the open week. Syracuse was just better. And, I hate cliches in college football. I really don't like them. I like for people's opinion to be authentic and original, but there's one thing that kind of sticks out to me, and that is, they say it's hard to get to the top. It's even harder to stay there. And you're not going to just stay on top by showing up. And I felt like Clemson just kind of showed up and was a little bit haphazard in their approach. And Syracuse was ready. That was their biggest game of the year, obviously, being able to, slay the number 2 team in the country. So will they bounce back like they did after the Pittsburgh loss last year? Man, I sure hope so. It seemed to be that type of attitude today when I was in Tiger Town. But once again, the proof is in going out there and winning. And they've got a couple of teams still left on the schedule that if they play like they did Friday night, it'll be the same. It'll be the same song and just a different verse coming up for them. So their best football better be ahead of them, or making another run in a national championship game is not in the cards.
Will, how do you feel about the way that they use the quarterback position? Would you have started Kelly Bryant? Would you have let them in as long as they did?
I probably would have. I actually asked that question a little bit today, and the fact still remains is they felt like that Kelly Bryant was their very best chance to win the game. And when you're in the middle of a game, when you're down and you're not playing good, you want to go with the guy that that gives you the best opportunities when you go out there. Now, it's so easy for me on a Saturday morning to wake up and go, well, they should have played Zarek, or they should have played Hunter, they should have done this, or they shouldn't have ran Kelly as much, and they shouldn't have gotten him beat. I can do all that just like anybody can. But, guys, y'all been around the game as long as I have, as old as Phil and Corey are. Y'all been around a lot more than I have. But at the end of the day, these coaches want to win. They're making the best decision possible in the moment to try to win the ball game, and they felt like 2 was the best opportunity for them. So, I can second-guess it just like everybody else has. I think if they would go back and try it again, yeah, they'd probably try something different. But, when you're up there and you're trying to make decisions in the heat of the game, you do what you feel like is best, and that's what the coaches told me today. They felt like that Kelly gave them the best opportunity.
It's the M&M boys here on Sports Talk. Will Merritt, Corey Miller. All right, Corey, the Gamecocks, they play great defense in the red zone, no question about it. Is that good? Is it good that, teams can move the ball between the 20s and then they kind of clamp down in the red zone and make things difficult for offenses when they get inside that red zone?
Well, that's the style of play they're playing. I mean, that's what they have to do based on their personnel. I think it's excellent coaching when you know what you have on that side of the ball. You know what you can't do. You know your limitations. And we're going to give up some routes. We're going to give up some yards. Who cares if they fill up the stat sheet? Ask NC State. But the stat that matters is that you have one more than they have at the end of the game. And that's what they're doing. They're playing very good in the red zone. They're tightening down. They're shortening the field. They're turning folks over. They're getting pressure on the quarterback. They're making some really good plays. I like what they're doing defensively because they don't have really, cover corners, guys in the open field that can play one-on-one. They can be a pressure team and do those types of things. I think they're playing to their strengths. A lot of young players that's developing and learning, and that's working for them. That's why they're 5th in the SEC in scoring defense, 24th in the country right now. And look where they were before, trying to do it a different way. You're talking about in the hundreds in total defense and in scoring defense. So they're doing an outstanding job, and it's the one area that we talked about the concern was for this football team. We thought the offense would be blazing and scoring 35, 42 points, tossing all around the ballpark. Well, that hasn't happened. What you have right now is a team that is led by Will Muschamp, a defensive coach that's gotten a whole lot better. You look at the defensive line that's gotten a whole lot better. DJ Wanham, back-to-back lineman of the week in the SEC, which is a pretty special award when you think about all the defensive linemen that comes from this conference. So they're doing a great job, and give Lance Thompson a ton of credit, who coached the defensive line. getting those guys prepared and ready to play. I don't have a problem with the yards. I'm not a big stat guy. The one that matters to me, keep them out of the end zone, make them kick field goals, and that's why they're winning some games.
Yeah, and Phil, let me just
Guys,
speak to
it
that
being
too, 'cause I never like to agree with Corey on anything. However, I will tell you this: scoring defense is really all that matters when you're talking defensive stats. Conversely, let me tell you this: there is nothing more frustrating than to an offensive unit when you're in the middle of the game and you're moving the football with efficiency, but yet you look up at the scoreboard and you're still losing or it's a close ball game. That plays a mental game with an offense and even offensive coordinators when they have had.
All right, Will, hold on. We'll come back. Hang on. We'll come right back. Let's finish up in a moment.
Oh, no, you're fine. And I've got headphones on, so I'm just trying to get, like, all my stuff sent back. And there's no room in the, like, media room, so.
Can you talk to me or no?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right, so you'll lead into Frank. The first question is about him being picked 11th.
Yeah. That's fine.
And it's 4 minutes and like 50 seconds. So if I hit a spot where y'all want me to end, just let me know.
Got it. I'll type to you before before the end of that answer. Is it gonna be in this segment or no?
This segment here, he's gonna finish up with the M&M boys, then let you lead into Frank.
All right. Hopefully we get this enough time.
What was that last thing you said, Will?
So hopefully he gives us enough time.
Okay, yeah.
Did he get me a hat? Is that what he's telling me?
We're back at Sports Talk. We continue from Bar Figaro in Newberry, also from Nashville, the Omni Hotel side of SEC Media Days. We're going to hear from Frank Martin in just a moment. But sorry, Will, Corey. Will, go ahead and finish up. You were giving some praise, apparently, to the Gamecocks. I know it was harmful and hurtful for you to force that out of your mouth, but I think you were giving a little praise toward the Gamecocks.
Well, I was just simply saying that, you look at it from both perspectives on scoring defense, and y'all were asking that question. Just as much as scoring defense is the biggest factor that you want to see for a defensive unit, it's also very, very discouraging for an offensive unit. Offensive line, quarterbacks, wide receivers across the board when they have success and then don't have points to show for it. So the fact that the bend but don't break mentality are in between the 20s, that South Carolina's given up some yardage, the fact still remains the scoreboard's all that anybody cares about. And so a lot of times if you're Tennessee and you look up there and you're seeing, hey, I'm going up down the field but I'm not scoring points, eventually you get very frustrated, and it starts to play a factor in a ball game about the way you call a game and about the just the emotional energy that takes out of you. So I really don't think it matters if they give up yardages. If the scoring defense stays where it's at, South Carolina can still win a bunch of ball games.
All right, listen, it's a bye week. We're going to let you both go, but a one-word answer to this question for both of you. Corey, we'll start with you. Will Clemson run the table the rest of the regular season?
No.
Well, it's one word answer.
Well, just capitalize and just keep it copy and paste. No.
Will?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You see how they?
All right, so
see, that's what it's and they listen to what the rules are. One word.
I don't listen to the rules, Will. I'm outside the rules. You know that by now.
Yeah. We got a rules follower and a rules breaker.
I'm a rules breaker.
We thank you. Have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your weekends off as far as your teams. We'll talk to you next week. M&M boys, Corey Miller, Will Merritt with us here on Sports Talk. We'll get back to more intense stuff with them next week as we get ready for Clemson, Georgia Tech, and South Carolina, Vanderbilt. But you know what? We got to work in some basketball. It's here. SEC Media Day today, ACC Media Day next week in Charlotte. Willie P. in Nashville today with Frank Martin. Willie P.
He definitely was, to use myself in the third person there, Corn. Frank Martin was asked very simply, how do you feel about being picked 11th out of 14 in the conference?
Hey, Coach, you're coming off the Final Four year. I know you lost a lot of good players, but you're picked 11th in the preseason. Well, what do you think about that?
I really don't care. I mean, this is what I'll tell you. And I'm not taking a shot at anybody. We were top 20 last year. And we played a league game. And after the game, there was not a single media person covering the game. So with all due respect, I deal with the media because I have to. I really don't care what's reported or said, or their opinions for that matter.
He's still mad about that.
I'm in a great mood, by the way. But I'm going to tell you the truth.
Frank Hassani working at first-team point guard. How's he looked out there so far?
Yeah, I don't know, first team's the way to word it. I mean, I haven't even figured out combinations yet. We're just out there teaching right now. And but I recruited Asani to be a point guard. He played point his whole life. And to get on the court last year, I told him, if you want to stay at the point, you'll stay at the point, but your minutes are going to be few and far between because I got other guys. If you want to play the two, you got a chance to play a lot more. So he learned to play off the ball, which is going to help him because as a point guard, you better understand what other people are doing. And I think that was a great learning experience for him. But the plan is to play him at the point a lot more this year. And, I've always believed in 2 point guards. I've said this before. Watched the Detroit Pistons in 1989, 1990, and I watched Isaiah Dumars playing together. They were both point guards, and I said, that's how I want to play. And it's never changed.
How is Corey progressing from that knee injury or knee surgery?
He's great. He's practicing. Corey's really good. Getting back to the question about us being ranked 11th or whatever, and, nobody gives Corey any credit. There's not too many returning guards that average 19 points a game in Division I when they played. He did. And Corey's real good. Corey's going to help us tremendously. Corey's a real good player, very confident player, can really shoot it. He's fun.
People who know and saw your program last year saw the scoring come from Darius and PJ. Where will the scoring come from this year in your mind?
The guys wearing the uniforms. I mean,
Specific.
All you have to do is follow my career. If anyone in here realizes that I coached basketball before last year, and you go follow my career, you'll realize the guys in my program, I can't speak for other coaches, I can speak for mine. Their second year, they are a lot better than they are their first year. That's been forever and ever, dating back to 1985 when I started high school coaching. To the whole thing about being ranked 11th, the league is real good. I can care less what we're ranked. I might be happy if we're 11th because the league is so good. But I know this. I've been a head coach for 10 years. We've been in the postseason 7 of the 10 years. I think everyone in the world would give me a pass the first 2 years of South Carolina. That's pretty good. So does that mean we're going to the postseason? I have no idea. I know the league's real good. Chris Silva, every team is different. Our best players last year were Shendarius and PJ. Let me rephrase this. Our best offensive players were Shendarius and PJ. I had to run our offense to cater to our best offensive players. There are things Chris and Mike Kochar can do that I couldn't expand their roles because Mike was learning, Chris was still trying to evolve, and it's not very intelligent to run your offense through options 4 and 5 rather than 1 and 2. And but all that changes. And now you have Corey Holden, who practiced with us last year, so I have a feel for him. You got Hassani, Hassani gets no credit. Hassani was a major contributor for a Final Four team. Played major minutes in major games. Was a starter the last 4 games of the year. He's prepared to go. So I don't know. We'll figure all that out. One thing I've never worried about who's going to score. 35 years now. I've been doing this, 34, 5. I don't think my team has ever not scored in a game. And so I don't worry about scoring. I worry about our team growing and respecting each other. And the guys will figure out who puts the ball in the basket. And it's my job to run offense through our better offensive players.
That's Frank Martin talking about where the offensive production will come from. I don't know if that's a sufficient answer, Corn, but it at least tells me he's not worried.
He's still mad that nobody from the states of South Carolina media went with the team to, I think it was Missouri, back on January 28th. I think that was the game he's thinking about where there was no South Carolina media coverage. It might have been LSU on February 1. It was one of those long trips, and he's just – and, he's right. I mean, I'm sorry. He's exactly right, at least. And I can't speak for everybody's budgets and all that, but, I mean, the state newspaper should have their basketball writer at every South Carolina basketball game, home and away.
I can tell you this right now, Corn. We're the only radio station here in the entire state. So there you go.
That's not a surprise. Who's that surprising? That's not a surprise. We do.
I'm just telling the folks, if you want the best South Carolina and Clemson coverage, we're there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we're here for Newberry. We've got the Wolves coming up after the top of the hour break. Coach Todd Knight will be joining us. Coach Dave Davis, the basketball coach, and Ralph Patterson, the athletics director, who used to know a thing or two about basketball, but he's expanded his horizon now to know a little bit about everything in the sports world. Where is Ralph? I saw him here earlier. He's back there. Okay, he'll be with us as well. Of course, he knows how to handle a microphone, too. He's done that a good bit in his professional career as well. So we'll be back here at Bar Figaro in Newberry after the top of the hour break.
Ask him if he's doing 2 or 3.
He took his headset off. Give me a second.
Yeah. Or just text him. If he's doing 2, I'm going to log off and do other stuff because I'm not going to be included in the Newberry stuff.
Yeah, are those YouTube videos ready yet?
They should be. Let me go check.
All right.
Impersonation of you.
He still hadn't answered me, Will. I texted him and everything.
The video should be up.
Okay.
I can send you where they. I'll share them to you on the YouTube or on the. I'll give you the links here on the Hangout.
Yeah. Or you can just send me the links through the Gmail that I'm using because I won't be able to pull them from the Hangout thing. And I couldn't tell Phil what you wanted me to. He's not answering. He said they're doing 3 segments, Will.
I'm gonna log off just because I'm not. I'll log back on.
All right.
Because I'm not sitting here for 3 segments.
Round 2 of Sports Talk up next with your hosts Phil Kornbluth, Will Pelagic, and the Professor Tom Hayes. Don't leave us hanging. Join the show, 800-956-7266.
Of course, the professor has the week off. He's taking a bye, like South Carolina and Clemson are doing. The rest of us, however, are working. Will Pelagic is in Nashville, SEC Media Day, and I am here at Bar Figaro in Newberry with the good folks from Newberry. Right. From Newberry, the town of, and Newberry College. Yeah, I kind of feel like Jerry Springer sitting up here, with a live audience. I've never really had this sort of affection thrown our way. So, joined by Coach Todd Knight, head coach of the Newberry College Wolves. Good to see you.
Good to see you. Welcome to the Berry, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely, man. A beautiful place. Beautiful bar, Bar Figaro. This place is outstanding. You're having another great year. I was disappointed that you couldn't hold on last weekend. You'd be in an even better mood. You're in a good mood nonetheless because you're still in good shape in your league.
We are. We kind of control our own destiny at this point. Dropped a heartbreaker last week, no doubt about that. Double overtime at home and lose by 1. That's a tough pill to swallow. But, I've talked about it all week with our kids. We're, tough crowd. We got a crowd. I feel like they're going to bounce back, high character kids. And, I just have all the confidence in the world and they're going to show up this upcoming week. We've had a great week of practice so far in preparation for homecoming. Mm-hmm. It's a big deal anywhere you go, but in the Berry, it's huge for us. And our kids are excited about the upcoming game.
Well, it's a tough league.
No,
week in, week out, you're going to get good competition, and it's pretty amazing the long league winning streak you had put together.
Yeah, we had a good run there for a while, and coming off of a conference championship and being picked number 1 preseason, you're going to get everybody's A game. And you try to talk to the kids about that week in and week out. There's no gimmies in our league. A typical sack game, there's a field goal, maybe a touchdown between everybody. The only reason a game might get lopsided one way or another would be turnovers, and you see that week in and week out everywhere in the country. But in our league, it doesn't matter if you won last week or you've won 17 in a row, you got to come ready to play.
I noticed in reading the game story that did you flip things up at quarterback a little bit? Have you had some change at quarterback in the recent weeks?
We started off early in the year with one quarterback,
Right.
Nick Jones, and then it's kind of turned into a 2-quarterback system for us. Greg Rupp's been coming off the bench, and both kids are doing great things. One guy's throwing a little bit better than one guy's running it, and it's really come down to the hot hand. Where Greg Rupp is primarily a runner, he's turned into a very accurate thrower in the last couple of weeks, and then it's kind of flipped on us with Nick. Nick's doing a better job running the football, so that's been a pleasant surprise to see both of those guys play to their strengths, but then also surprise us that they can do other things as well, and it's kind of balanced, and we played it the best we could, trying to say, okay, this kid's hot, put him in, this kid's not, take him out, rolling it back and forth. 2 great kids, and they're really good teammates. They work well with each other. You can see them in the film room helping each other, with their scout reports out, making notes and that kind of stuff, encouraging each other on the field. And, you could look back and go, man, Nick Jones really almost kind of fell out on us at Carson Newman. And Greg come in, moved the ball for us, got banged up. We had to throw some water on Nick, get him, wake him back up a little bit. He goes out, throws a strike, and wins the game.
Right.
Then you flip it around, and we got homecoming up at Lenore Ryan, and we need a spark. And Greg comes in on 3rd down, runs around, gets the 1st down, and moves it a little bit. And then later on, Nick comes back and has a long run for us. And those kids are just a great 1-2 punch right now.
Yeah, and you're having a receiver having a phenomenal year. Every week I'm looking up, and he's getting some sort of honor from the league about a performance that he turned in that previous Saturday.
Right, Markel Castle, I talk about him every Thursday night at our coaches show and post game and that kind of thing. I say he's the best slot receiver in our league, and every Saturday he just goes out and proves it. The kid is easing his way up the record books at Newberry. We talked about this last week a little bit, that when he surpasses names like Cole Watson, Cole Watson's in the Canadian League getting paid to play and that kind of thing. When your name goes above his in the record book, boy, you're doing something, because Cole's name around here is royalty.
Yeah.
Markel Castle's name around here a year or 2 from now, when he stepped away from it, he's probably going to rewrite all of the record books when it's all said and done.
Where'd he come from?
He's a York high school kid.
Okay, in-state guy.
In-state, most of our kids are in-state kids, and we just believe that there's enough talent in the state that you can win with. I'm not saying we don't have kids from out of the state. We've got a handful here and there, but most of our staff has a tie to the state or from this state, and we just feel like there's enough talent here that we can win with it, and I think we've proven that over the last couple of years.
You've been around the Newberry football program a lot of years, assistant coach, head coach. Have you ever seen, the atmosphere and the excitement for Newberry football at a level that it is right now?
Well, when we first came here about 15 years ago, when Coach Willis, graciously enough, invited me to come up and be a part of his staff, we kind of inherited the flip side of where we are now. I think they had lost about 18 conference games in a row, and we was trying to get that thing turned. And I remember winning the first conference game was here at home, our first year here as a staff, and we beat Lenore Ryan, and it was such a big deal. For us, I can remember as soon as the game's over with, the coaching staff just started running, and we ran out of the back gate, and all of us dove into the water fountain in the center of campus, because it was just such a big deal. We finally won a conference game and snapped an 18-game losing streak.
Yeah.
And then to get it to where I think we had won 12 or 13 in a row, and it had been 7, almost 800 days since we had lost a conference game around here. Seen a lot of things happen in 15 years and seen it flip. And, it's pretty cool to have been through all of that.
And attendance looks good, and there are plans to improve your stadium and all that. That's on the board moving forward.
We always talk about having the best fans in the league, whether we're on the road or we're at home. We travel very well, and always at home we pack the place. And it's time. Yeah. It's time for an upgrade, so to speak, and all plans are pointing toward possibly getting started with it at the end of the season. That's everything that I'm hearing. I'm just hoping it stays on that course.
Limestone coming in for your homecoming this weekend, and Coach Furry's got that team on the way up, and it's an improving program. He's an excellent coach.
He really is, and he's done a good job.
Good wins, and they've had some close losses this year.
He really has, and I think this is the best season they've had since they've started the program up there, and Coach Fury is doing a great job, and you can see the changes coming in the program. You can see it in recruiting. You can see it on the product that they're putting on the field, and they're having a good year. They dropped one a couple of weeks ago against Carson Newman. And then they dropped one last week that kind of shocked me a little bit. They kind of let one get out of hand against Lenore Ryan. We'd gone up and beat Lenore Ryan at their homecoming and had a pretty good day. And then I, kind of thinking, okay, Lenore Ryan's going to be down a little bit coming off of us beating them at homecoming. They'll probably go down to Limestone, and Limestone will get after them. And the exact opposite happened. Limestone put the ball on the ground a couple of times, threw a few picks. I think they've turned it over. Don't quote me on this. I think it's pretty close, about 20 times, and 9 in the last 2 games. And that's what's really kind of shot them a little bit right there.
Well, you look ahead the rest of your season. You mentioned you control your own destiny. Wingett's having a great year so far right now. I guess they're atop the league. But if you take care of your business, you got to go there in a couple of weeks. That could be for all the marbles.
Yeah, Wingett is at the top of the league. They're sitting there alone. We're in second place by ourselves, and everybody else is kind of jockeying for position a little bit. But, just taking them one at a time. I know it's an old cliche, but one at a time, and homecoming is the biggest one because it's the ones coming right here.
Yeah. How's the injury status of your team going into homecoming?
I think we're in pretty good shape by the time we roll around on Saturday. We've held a kid or two here and there. Just trainers are kind of saying, look, coach, he needs a day, that kind of thing. It's nothing major. By the time Saturday rolls around, we'll be at full strength.
How special is homecoming at Newberry?
It's wild. It really is, And I got a bunch of guys on my staff that are Newberry grads.
Yeah.
So they get up and they talk about it every day at practice, what it means to them. Guys like Jeremiah Jones, that's my inside linebacker coach, was a great linebacker here. He's in I think the top 5 of all-time tacklers in the book around here. He got up here today and talked about everybody all the old Indians, all the old Wolves, they're all coming back to see you. And, when he just kids are coming back to see you. They're coming back to see you win homecoming. And, he drove it home today, and he did a great job talking to the team. And they're jacked up about homecoming. There's no question about it.
We thank you for coming out and visiting with us tonight. Good luck Saturday, the rest of the season. Of course, we'll keep in touch with you and look forward to a nice long run here.
Absolutely. Thank you, sir, again for coming up, and welcome to the Bears.
You got it, my friend. Thank you. All right, Coach Todd Knights, head coach of the Newberry College Wolves here in Newberry. Big homecoming game against Limestone coming up for them this weekend as they try to stay very much in the hunt for the South Atlantic Conference Championship once again. And we will be back. More Sports Talk in a moment.
Now back to Sports Talk, South Carolina's most listened to sports talk show for more than 30 years.
Okay, we're back. Sports Talk on this Wednesday night from Bar Figaro in downtown Newberry, here visiting with the Newberry College Wolves. We talked football, but basketball is here. Practice is underway. Games are right around the corner. Coach Dave Davis of the Newberry College basketball team alongside with us here at Bar Figaro going into many wins, but year number 8. And we thank you for coming over. How are you?
I'm doing great, Phil. Thank you very much. Welcome to the center of the universe.
Oh, this is it, baby. This is it. Now, when you practice, does the basketball ever hit the floor with your guys? I mean, is it like pass, shoot, pass, shoot? What do you try to do?
Well, we're all about pressure. Pressure when they have the ball, pressure when we have the ball, and just try to get the game at the highest rate of speed and play it a way no one else does and try to make them uncomfortable and play a way they've never played before, and 4 guards all the time, 5 guards some of the time, and race up and down the floor and try to have a good time with it.
How quickly are you guys shooting the basketball typically? A possession of yours lasts how long?
Well, not very long, for sure.
Yeah.
But where many people that play this way have all kinds of numbers they try to put on it, we don't do that. We're trying to get a great shot. If it takes us, as long as 20 or 25 seconds, we're going to do that. But we're not going to turn one down 3 or 4 seconds in. And we really offensive rebound the ball. So that's a big part of playing at the pace we play. And we press and trap, and it's just it's a different way of doing it, really fun way to do it, and fortunately we've had some success doing it.
Well, defense is a big part of your game, like you mentioned, and I mean you led the nation in turnovers in Division II, and you're just not run and gun and shoot. You obviously make your guys play defense.
Well, it may not look like that all the time, Phil, but we're certainly trying to do that and make people uncomfortable. And field goal percentage defense is really important, but turnovers are better because they don't even get a shot, and that's what we're trying to do. And, we've had games where we'll turn people over 20, 30 times, and those turnovers often turn into offense for us, so all part of the overall philosophy.
How does your team stack up for this year in terms of returning starters, experience, and how you see them fitting into the South Atlantic Conference race this year?
Well, 2 totally different questions. I love my team. I'm so excited about this season, probably the best I've ever felt at Newberry, to be honest with you. The last 4 senior classes have left as the all-time winningest at Newberry since we've been an NCAA 2 team, so we've had some success. But we had a 5'4" point guard, Gerald Evans, last year. It's really, really special player. I think he left as number 2 in assists, number 3 in steals. We lost him, and Mason Speece, a very good shooter for us, but we've got everybody else back. So a lot of experienced guys that played all the time last year, and we're all put in different roles last year, but I think have really grown from that. They've worked. They're better. So incredibly excited about the year. That is absolutely true, and look for good things from our team. Now, the South Atlantic Conference is just unbelievable.
I was going to ask you, how good?
This is 35 years for me in the game. And it's definitely the best league we've ever competed against. Better than the Big South, in my opinion.
Whoa. Better than D1 Big South?
I would say that
really,
without hesitation. Almost as good as the Southern Conference. Queens beat VCU by 25 last year, and VCU won 28 games. We beat Marshall the year before. We were up 24 different times in the second half. Played South Carolina last year, scored 89 on a Frank Martin team. Probably the best defensive team in Division I last year. You'd probably agree with that.
I heard him say that sparked them to the Final Four. Getting past you guys kind of got them confident and rolling towards the Final Four.
We will take absolute credit for that. And absolutely, if it means we get another game.
You notice he scheduled Erskine this year and not you, okay? I think there was a reason to that. But you're going south.
Yes, sir. Our exhibition game is Miami, the U. Newberry meets South Beach on Halloween. And that should be a great experience for all of us. We're looking forward to that. And they're picked second in the ACC, so quite an opener for our guys. But, of course, when you're on this level, it's beyond exciting. You can use it as a motivator the year round. We found out about that game in April of last year, so you can believe it helped our spring season. It helped our summer work, and we're really looking forward to that.
Do you guys feed off of what the football program has been doing in recent years? I mean, they get the fall season started with their success, then basketball rolls along. Do you get some of the energy and the excitement from what they have been developing? Does that feed over into basketball season?
Absolutely, and no doubt. And you know, I've been doing this forever, and I've never been at a school with football till I came to Newberry. And first of all, what Todd Knight and his staff do are just off the charts, unbelievable. I mean, you talk about overcoming obstacles. These guys don't see what they don't have. They just find a way, and it's so inspiring. And then they're incredible human beings. The entire staff, wonderful people. So we have a great friendship, and we support their team fully. They support ours. And to see what they're doing, it is. I mean, it really gets you excited. And then the Newberry football game is just an amazing atmosphere. I mean, there's just nothing like it. It's small college football at its absolute finest, and passionate people. And then, you know, take the fact that he's had 5 or 6 guys in the NFL certainly doesn't hurt anything.
All right, how's your practices been to this point? You've had about, 5 practices? So did you guys start later than the D1 schools?
Yeah, they still don't let us start till October 15th. So D1 started
on October. You know what? That makes sense.
I mean, seriously, that makes sense to me. I do not understand why the D1 schools now are starting in late September, right? And they've got like 40 days of practice, I think, before they, have to tip it off. I mean, anyway, go ahead. You started just a few days ago.
Yes, we did. And, I'm not the easiest guy in the world to please as a coach, but to be honest with you, I could not be happier. Our preseason went great. The first 5 practices have been phenomenal. We have 4 seniors that have just been outstanding leaders. They've improved tremendously. We have a sophomore who has a chance probably to be the best or among the best to ever play at Newberry, and Marshall Lang. He was the freshman of the year in the league, was the national freshman of the year in the ECAC. And then we got a 6'8" kid, and everybody in here is probably really excited to hear that because they've never seen me coach a tall person at Newberry. We play guards all the time, but this kid can really play. Max Miller, and got very lucky in recruiting with him. Furman had recruited him a bit, and somehow we ended up landing him, and he's going to have a chance to make an impact right away. And we have depth. There's probably 12, 13 guys fighting for positions to play right now in practice, and that makes our practices incredibly competitive. And just really pleased through 5 practices. You're undefeated at this point, so that's a good thing. And we're just going to keep working hard and see where it brings us.
And does it help to have an AD who knows a little something about basketball and kind of knows what a basketball coach goes through on a daily basis?
Well, there's no question. We have an unbelievable AD, great guy, and all those kinds of things. But, he was a slow-it-down guy, pack it in kind of guy. Yeah. So we look at the game a little bit differently for sure. But,
right.
But unbelievable person, as you know, in Ralph Patterson, and we're blessed to have him with us.
Listen, good luck to you this year, and hope things continue to go well for you. We'll be checking in during the season and look forward to a nice long run into the postseason and beyond.
Thank you so much, Phil.
Thank you for coming over.
Okay, man.
Coach Dave Davis, coach of the Newberry College basketball team, and they're going to be very exciting this year, and look forward to seeing what they can do. Let's give you some recruiting while we have a moment here. Breaking news, Zion Williamson has announced he's going to play for Newberry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, huh? You must be connected with Adidas in some way, I guess, Coach, huh? Okay, that was just a joke, folks, just a joke. All right, football, running back Lynn J. Dixon of Georgia, of course, who decommitted from Tennessee after the loss to USC, been committed to Tennessee since June. Clemson, very much in the mix with him. Clemson, of course, been recruiting him a long time, but they were waiting on Zamir White. When they didn't get him, they offered Dixon. Dixon had already been committed to Tennessee, but he's now looking back at Clemson, and they're recruiting him. And this could work out down the road. We'll have to wait and see. He's also looking at several other schools. Tennessee is still in the hunt. Oklahoma State's in the hunt. Louisville as well. Visited Clemson back in March, and he hopes to get back to Clemson here sometime in the not-too-distant future. Okay, we're going to hit a break. I'm not going to miss the break this time. We'll come back, finish recruiting, welcome Ralph Patterson to the program. Coming up here on Sports Talk.
These guys, they never sleep. Check them out on the web at SportsTalkSC.com. Now, more of Sports Talk on the South Carolina Radio Network.
All right, back to the folks in Newberry at Bar Figaro. Had a great time here tonight. Many thanks to Randall Stewart for his great work from Newberry College, helping to promote us and make sure that we get on the air and sound nice and smooth here inside Bar Figaro. Let me wrap up recruiting. USC made a recent offer to defensive end Jarrett Jackson of Palm Beach Gardens, Florida. He's a Louisville commitment. Defensive line coach Lance Thompson was by his school this week, met with his coach, and so they've got him lined up for an official visit November 11th. He's going to Pitt on December 2nd, Louisville on December 9th. He's also considering Florida State, and Florida is also in the hunt. He's an early graduate, very good pass rusher, and he's interested in South Carolina. Running back Michael Salahuddin of Washington, D.C., a Southern Cal commitment, told Trojan Sports he'll take an official visit to Clemson. 2019 defensive lineman Jaquez Sorrells of Largo, Florida, a Florida commit, plans to visit Clemson for the Florida State game. That'll be unofficial. Tennessee commitment, offensive lineman Cade Mays of Knoxville, plans to visit Clemson for the Georgia Tech game, according to the Clemson Insider. Clemson target defensive back Brendan Radley Hiles of IMG Academy, a Nebraska commit, will visit Texas this weekend and Oklahoma next weekend. He was at Nebraska earlier this month. Clemson's been hoping to get him in for a visit in November. 2019 defensive lineman Tyshik Galloway of Belton Honeypath picked up an offer from Virginia. And Myrtle Beach 2020 quarterback Luke Doty recently was offered by NC State. He also has a USC offer. There you go with recruiting here on Sports Talk. Remember to check it out on our website, SportsTalkSC.com. And on Twitter, use the hashtag STRecruiting. Gosh, I can remember back in 1982-83 talking about a young Mike Hold coming from Arizona Western Junior College in Yuma, Arizona. No, Mesa, Arizona. One of those.
And his dad was a Colorado Buffalo. You got to like that.
I did not know that. I did. Little did we know that Mike Hold would come to South Carolina and in, 2 years set the school on its ear, huh? You remember some of those plays he made?
Well, I couldn't even spell South Carolina back then. I was a Colorado guy, but now all I hear is about Mike Hold and Black Magic and all that they got it done.
It was incredible.
It was.
Ralph Patterson, the athletics director at the Newberry College. Oh, they still like you here, huh?
It's early. It's only been 15 months.
How did you end up at Newberry now? Because you were doing television color analyst for games. You were doing a talk show, radio stuff. You were doing some fill-in administrative work at various spots, and then voila, you end up here at Newberry.
It was just a major blessing, really. And when I got the chance to come here, actually Dave Davis kind of got the door open for me, and then I was hired as interim, and then I tricked President Sharon's into hiring me by full-time by a little bit before Christmas last year, and really glad to be here. And you've talked to Todd Knight tonight. Mm-hmm. You talked to Dave Davis. We've got really good coaches, and some of our other head coaches are here tonight. Russell Triplett is a great baseball coach. Yep. His wife, Cedia, is our softball coach. She's awesome. Hannah Dave is our field hockey coach. She's having the best year that Newberry's ever had. We really have good coaches.
What's the best part of your job?
Watching our coaches be successful and make a difference in the lives of our student athletes. It's really cool. And we have 650 student athletes. That's more than Clemson has. That's more than Carolina has. We have 21 sports. That's more than we have. And so it's an important part of Newberry College. It's an incredibly important part of this community. And I'm glad to be here. And I'm just kind of along for the ride watching our coaches do cool stuff.
Is there a worse part to your job yet?
Bad news. I'm a good news guy, so I want people to come into my office, like Dave Davis, and come in and tell me something really good. And really, he's one of the reasons I'm not coaching anymore. Yeah. I couldn't beat him. So I had to get into administration.
Yeah. You like his style of basketball?
I love it.
I mean, you never coached that way.
I couldn't. I had 7 guys. He's got about 50. So he's got to keep everybody. He's got to keep everybody happy.
Yeah.
Now I want to know from you.
Yeah.
you're top 5 athletes ever in Latta, South Carolina. So
right.
when you take the exit off of 95 in Latta, there's
Raymond Felton.
I'm waiting for the statue. Like if you go to the NCAA Champion Center in Indianapolis, they have a picture of the flying wedge.
Yeah.
So in Latta, is it Phil Kornblut, Raymond Felton, Chris Bethea, Tracy Carter?
Would be there.
Claude Graham.
Yep, you're got.
Are you in that statue?
You got 4 of them. No, I would just be the guy cleaning up around the statue. I have nothing to do. I would not be a part of the statue. I'd be cutting the grass.
Well, and then
I'd be picking up the litter.
And I got to congratulate
I'd be the guy defacing the statue. That's what I would be.
No, you wouldn't. You're not that kind of guy. And I still congratulations to your Yankees.
Thank you. Well, it's not over.
When I sat next to you at Clemson football games when I was doing stuff for their network.
Don't tell this.
And this is as true as it can be. You would dial in for the Clemson stuff and get ready, but then you'd open up that laptop and
watching
go to
the Yankees.
Watching the Yanks.
Absolutely. Yeah. Listen, I can multitask.
Right.
It's what I do. So where are you headed with this program, the Newberry Athletic Program?
Well, we're going in the right direction. When we got here, I listened to the coaches. We just needed to support them a little bit more in every way, whether it was getting them better facilities, which we're trying to do, get them more operation money in their budgets. We're doing that. We have 55% of the enrollment at the college, which I think that's going to change. I think with some of the new academic programs that we're adding, we're going to identify more non-athletes, which I think is a healthy thing. But right now, Newberry Athletics is as important as it can be. It's a real town and gown atmosphere. We get great support from the community. A lot of the people here at every game, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, you name it. And it's just a real blessing for me to be here.
Can I suggest that in lieu of what the NCAA did on Friday, that you start up some of those programs they have in Chapel Hill to kind of help get some people through? And
can we talk about that a little bit? Now when our friend Eddie Fogler was through at South Carolina, one of his quotes was, "I'm not going to mess." He didn't want to put up with the stuff that was going on even back then.
Correct.
So it's been going on for a long, long time.
What'd you think of that? Are you in a position where you can comment on something like that?
Oh, I can comment on anything.
Well, what do you think of the ruling?
I think we're in trouble. I think, and if as far as they want to dig, it could go to the highest level of the game, and that's why being at a Division II school where there's real balance. I mean, it's still as competitive as ever. Mike Krzyzewski doesn't want to win games more than Dave Davis does. I mean, I'd put Dave against anybody. Same thing with Todd Knight, Russell Triplett, any of those guys. But there's more balance here. You can be a real person. You don't have to worry about some of the other stuff. And we have our challenges too, just like anybody. But this is the right place, and we've got great support from the people, like the people here tonight, and it's a good place.
All right. So looking ahead to some of the things that you want to try to accomplish, we're talking with Coach Knight about the football stadium. I mean, it's a beautiful little old place. It's been around a long, long time, right next to the cemetery. Where they bury, I guess, the former head coaches are all buried out there.
And ADs, there's some dead ADs out there too. Well, and it's the oldest college football stadium in the state of South Carolina, which is also a polite way of saying it's time for an upgrade.
Right.
And we're going to get it. We're in a capital campaign right now. We've got great drawings for it. It's going to happen. We need some people to come through for us. We have good people that have been contacted. We need some others to come through, but we hope to start on that after football season this year. We may have to do it in phases. I hope that we don't have to. I'd like to do it all at once, but we can. You've been making money for a long, long time, and you could help us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Or would you name it after Sports Talk, or would you name it after?
Now the radio booth has already got Jimmy Coggins' name on it, as it should be. Now,
absolutely.
And so let's talk about that. How many schools that you know of have play-by-play radio in Division II, even Division I for that matter, for all of our football games, all of our basketball games, men and women?
Right.
Throw in baseball too. Not many places do that anymore. Newberry does.
Absolutely.
And so major thanks to Jimmy Coggins and all that.
He is indeed a legend. There's no question about it. Hey, thank you for coming over.
I got to plug one thing.
Plug something. Hurry.
We're bringing in Danny Ford and George Rogers. It's going to be our last home game is November 11th. We're having a big fundraiser the Thursday prior to that.
20 seconds.
$100 a table. You need to be there.
When is it?
November 8th. November 9th, excuse me. November 9th.
We'll be right back.
Okay. He said he has a guy from the Shrine Bowl coming in for a couple minutes, and he's figuring out what he's going to do with the rest of it.
So why did I come back? I'd love to be able to know when we air all this audio that I got.
Will, can you hear me?
Sir. Yes, I can.
All right, he said, which one did you want to do, Will? Because he's going to finish up with him and let him throw it to whatever interview you want. I still got Silva and Garrett. I got
Gravett.
Barner, I think that's what it says. And more of the interview you gave me.
What was the third one? What was the one you said after Gravett?
Brownell.
Oh, Brownell. How long is Brownell?
Brownell is 4:53.
No. Give me Gravett, but I'm gonna have you cut it after a while.
That's cool.
In fact, I'll figure out when to cut it.
I'm about to dial you in.
Got it.
Oh, never mind. You never hung up. I still see you.
No, I dialed back in. That's how I'm there.
We've had a blast here at Bar Figaro in Newberry with the folks here. Thanks again to everybody from Newberry College who came by and visited with us tonight, and all the folks who came out to be a part of this. And we're going to go back to Nashville in just a moment, get you a little more from SEC Media Day. But we're joined right now by Newberry resident Jamie Smith, who's the general game chairman of the Shrine Bowl, which will be coming up in Spartanburg in December. The rosters have been announced. Jamie, we're ready to rock and roll.
Yeah, we got two teams. If we can keep them healthy, I think we're going to have another great game this year.
Mm-hmm.
Our game will be at Gibbs Stadium in Spartanburg on the campus of Wofford College. and that will be December the 16th. The Senior Shrine Bowl of the Carolinas will kick off at 2 p.m. But we also have a Youth Shrine Bowl, a 6th grade game kicking off at 10 a.m.
Okay, so people should get there early.
Yeah, if you want to see a great football game with some talented 6th graders, 10 a.m. kickoff, and we're very excited to have that for our third annual Youth Shrine game of the Carolinas, and we're just ecstatic.
Looks like the two coaching staffs did a great job of putting their teams together.
There's a lot of talent. There's a lot of talent. We have 3 of Mr. Football finalists on our South Carolina squad this year. North Carolina's got equally as great a talent, and we're just excited to have the athletes. And like I said, if we just keep them healthy, I think we're going to have a great football game here on December the 16th.
All right, let's get people out and get tickets sold because, A, it's a great football game, and B, of course, we know it's part of the year-long fundraising efforts for the hospitals by the Shriners.
Yes, our game supports Shriners Hospitals for Children. And if you'd like to buy tickets, advance tickets will go on sale at all Academy Sports and Outdoors starting November the 1st. You can swing by any Academy Sports and Outdoors in either Carolinas, buy a ticket, or you can go to our website, www.shrine-bowl.com, and buy advance tickets there. And I would also like to add, we just released our guest speaker for this year's annual coaches and players banquet. Will be the Carolina Panthers' Travell Wharton, who actually played in our game, went to South Carolina and went on to be the 10 years in the Carolina Panthers. So we're excited to have our friend Travell Wharton with us as our guest speaker. And if you'd like to come out and be a part of that banquet, you can also go to our website and buy tickets as well.
That's fantastic. It's part of a really great 2 weeks in our state, the North-South Touchstone Energy Bowl the week before, and then the Shrine Bowl the following week. We have a great setup in South Carolina.
Yeah, we're very excited, and North-South is a great game. They got a lot of great talent there as well. And then we lead into our game, North-South down in Myrtle Beach, and we'll be in Spartanburg.
Great. Thank you, Jamie.
Thanks, Phil.
We'll be in touch.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jamie Smith from the Shrine Bowl. And again, the tickets will be going on sale November 1. Look forward to a big crowd in Spartanburg for that. And we look forward, of course, to covering the North-South and the Shrine Bowl as it rolls around in December. All right, Media Day, SEC Basketball Media Day. A reminder, ACC Basketball Media Day will be 1 week from today in Charlotte. We'll be there for that. Bring you all the color and pageantry of ACC basketball. But Willie P. has been in Nashville today with the SEC guys and with the Gamecocks, Willie P.
I have Corn, and we had a chance to talk to a couple of players, Hassani Gravitt and Chris Silva. Videos which you can see up on our website at SportsTalkSC.com. We'll have those up just shortly after the show is over. We'll also have videos with Frank Martin that gives us the full context to his comments. Here's a snippet of what you'll hear from when we talk to South Carolina's at least incumbent point guard, Hassani Gravitt.
How's the transition going? It's going good. I mean, most of my life I played point guard anyway, so it's an easy transition for me.
Was this something that you were working on before the situation with Felder happened?
Yeah, I definitely got reps at point and shooting guard, so it makes it even easier that I know both positions.
What has Frank told you about it? Like, I want you to strictly be a distributor. Can you take the shot on the green line if you have it?
Yeah, I mean, anybody that has an open shot, shoots a shot. But along with that, I got to get the other guys involved.
Frank has said a few times it's like the best shooting team as he's had. What have you seen that can kind of confirm that to this point?
I mean, with the new addition of the young guys and transfers that we got a lot of different guys that can put the ball in the hoop.
What stuck out? A guy like Holden to this point.
Well, he's just now kind of working his way in. But I mean, we've always known that he has a shot. We've seen him shoot before. He's just trying to get into the reps of getting up and down the court again.
Is Booker working any at point guard as well?
Nah, he's more wing guard.
How is it going defensively? I know you guys just started working on D, but being the point guard, that's pretty big.
Yeah, the young guys are catching on quick. That's big time for us. That's kind of what we base everything on is our defense. So it got us far last season, and it's going to get us far again. So.
What do you think is the biggest challenge not having the two big guys, Thornwell and Dozier, not here this year?
You said the biggest challenge?
Yeah.
I mean, experience. Those guys had a lot of experience. They brought that to the table for us. But, you know, we got Chris back. We got Mike back in the post and me as a guard. So we just got to, you know, spread the information that we know to the new guys and help them just learn it.
How much has Frank talked to you about you needing to step up in your leadership role?
A lot. I mean, we lost 3 of our best leaders. So me and Chris, you know, I got some reps starting last year, so I know how it feels to, you know, be a leader on the team. I just got it. I've gotten a lot better vocally than I was last year. I was more of a guy that led through action.
Where do you expect the bulk of the scoring to come from?
Right now, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of guys that can put the ball in the goal. I know we got to play through guys that we know in the past have scored a lot for us, which is guys like Chris and Mike. But we got a lot of different guys that shoot.
What's it coming off the Final Four run? You guys picked 11th in the league. What a little extra motivation for you at all?
Sure, you can say that, but at the same time, we're not worried about that. Our coach is going to coach us the same against any opponent as if we were picked first or last, so it doesn't really matter to us.
How many times have you guys mentioned Final Four, or have you at all?
Have we mentioned this year?
Yeah.
That's in the past. We're not talking about that anymore. We're trying to see what we're going to do this year.
How easy is it, though, to have that pressure kind of off of you? Do you guys feel that pressure of all eyes are going to be on you from the get-go as soon as the season starts?
I'm sure there will be, but like I said before, we're not focused on that. That's in the past, and we've got teams to face this year. It's new teams and new players, so we can't be thinking about all this stuff.
What do you think your biggest improvement has come? Your personal.
Well, in this, you mean from last year? Last year I didn't shoot the ball as well as I'm used to shooting, so this offseason I really worked on my shot a lot, and it's been falling big time for me. I put some more weight on, so I've gotten stronger, and just being a leader, as we talked about.
Corn, that's Hassani Gravitt, and if there's going to be a player that you see this year for South Carolina that could be a direct conduit of their success, I think it's him, because we've seen Frank Martin's teams in the past. They all pretty much have somebody who's a facilitator. I mean, I think about Jacob Pullen right away from Kansas State, and even some of the guys that we've seen come through South Carolina. This will have to be the guy that will be the straw that stirs the drink, at least from in terms of a leadership standpoint for South Carolina.
Well, possibly so. And I think, Frank hit the nail on the head in talking with you and the others earlier when talking about Corey Holden, guy that sat out last year. People don't remember him all that much around here, know much about him. He obviously believes he's a very special player. He also has a couple of other graduate transfer type guys who have experience. So, they're not going to be that young, inexperienced team as people think, because they got these older guys coming in. They just haven't played all together as a unit. And the question is, how well can they play together and how quickly will they mesh? But I think having Silva and some of the other guys returning, Coates in the middle as well, gives them certainly something to build around inside and give them a base there from where to build. So, all right, that's going to do it. Thank you, Will. Have a safe trip back. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, Brian. Thanks to all the folks here at Newberry for being with us tonight. We've enjoyed it. We'll see you tomorrow night.